Hey guys, so today I really wanted to film a video about Makeup Geek shadows because I feel like a lot of people, you know, you're getting ready to place an order and you're like looking through like every single like best of Makeup Geek shadows video, and you know, they tell you, and by they I mean I don't think I've seen a single negative review or like really negative about any shadow. So like the beauty community is basically saying like these shadows are all really buttery, smooth, creamy, pigmented. I'm sure you've heard those adjectives. And I have ordered 19 shadows from Makeup Geek, just from their regular line. And I really wanted to go ahead and go through these, swatch them, and show you my thoughts on them, because I think that they are actually very inconsistent in formula. Anytime there's a brand that's being like pushed out there that it's like everything about this is 100% perfect, I think that you always need to be skeptical. But I was actually a little bit thrown off because I don't know, I was really thrown off because there was like not a single negative review. I've heard nothing bad about any of these shadows. So when I got them in and I didn't like just obsess over them and fall in love with them completely, I was a little bit shocked, I guess. So basically, real fast, I find that there are three main formula types, I guess, within the shadows. One, they're either really creamy and really powdery and they kind of clump on themselves. Two, they're either really hard pressed and lack pigmentation. And then three, they're smooth but not creamy and are just fair in application, if that makes sense. There are a few exceptions, which I'll show at the end, and then there are a few that I would just say don't waste your money on this, like at all. So I'm gonna go ahead and just swatch the 19 that I have. I'm gonna go over them very quickly. This first one, already out of breath. This first one is Shimma Shimma. This one's really highly talked about, and this was my first real disappointment when it came to the Makeup Geek shadows. There it is right there. You can see that this is one of those ones that just blends and swatches really, really beautifully. The problem is that this is such a thick eyeshadow, and I'm not sure you're gonna be able to see the clumpiness of how it builds on itself. But for me, this one is a shadow that in the swatch, you're like, hallelujah, put that on my face. And then you get it in real life and you're like, it does not translate the same way in the swatch. And I think part of it is because it is such a thick powder. So yeah, that's Shimma Shimma. This next one, I should get some baby wipes. I should. This second shadow is Baby Face. It's just a really nice cool tone beigey gray color. And this one is one that I would say is smooth. Is a bit powdery, but it's not the same thing as when the ones are, you'll know. If you have Makeup Geek shadows, you probably know already that some of them are very powdery and just have a ton of kick up. This one does not. This is one of my favorite shadows from the bunch. Oh gosh. I gave my cats a can of wet cat food and they're over there like this next one is Beaches and Cream. I really like this one for a transition color. Again, one of those shadows that is smooth, not too powdery, definitely kind of just gets the job done. I do like this one as well. And then we have Peach Smoothie, which I know that absolutely everybody loves it. I think that the love for Peach Smoothie has more to do with it being a dupe for MAC's Samoa Silk than it just being some sort of amazing color. Because to me, Peach Smoothie is not the end all to transition colors. It is a really nice color, but I prefer it all over the lid when I'm doing just kind of like a spring peachy kind of eye. It is one that's fairly smooth, has a little bit more powdery kick up, but is not a chunky powdery kick up. This one is Purely Naked. This is probably my least favorite well, not my least, but it's one of them. This is exceptionally powdery. You can see even now, I haven't swatched it yet. This is just kind of from like last use. Pretty soft, but it's just a thick shadow. And I want to show you guys as I'm swatching it. Just kind of, you see the way all that product gets left at the top really badly. So you really have to kind of take your time and blend it. It's a pretty shade once it's blended, but for me, this is a basic shade, and I don't think that there's any reason that it should be so difficult. Like, you should have to put so much effort into using it. So for me, that one was a major disappointment. Creme Brulee. This one is one that it's a bit powdery. It's smooth, and you can definitely blend it out and make it a nice color. I do like this one, but it takes a bit of blending out. And then we have Frappe, which is kind of, you know, Creme Brulee's darker counterpart. Not quite as smooth, but also not as much powder pickup. So you kind of pick what you want. You can see, gonna blend those bad boys out. So neither of those are definitely not the worst, but you know, when you think you're getting the best, you really want to be getting the best, if that makes sense. Desert Sands, this is one of the newer ones that has been released, and this one is weird because it is smooth. There's quite a bit of powder that picks up. You can see it's got really nice pigmentation, but again, it does, you know, really build up. But it's not the most difficult shadow, and because it is, this is a neutral, but it's a unique neutral, if that makes sense. It's supposed to be a dupe for MAC Uninterrupted, which they are discontinuing, and then Bobbi Brown Camel, which I believe they also discontinued. So for me, I can forgive for this not being like the perfect shadow, because I really love the color of it, and it's a really nice blending color for those kind of like red and just burnt. Oh, I love it. I love it. I do like that shade quite a bit. This next one is Cocoa Bear. And I know that everyone says that Cocoa Bear is a must-have. It is a dupe for MAC's Brown Script. Firstly, it is not like a 100% dupe. This one is like really hard in the pan and not incredibly pigmented. I mean, you can build the pigment up, you can work with it. And with darker shadows, you don't always want a ton of pigmentation, but I had really high expectations for this one because Brown Script is probably one of my all-time favorite shadows, and I didn't know that. Here's the thing is, I bought all of my Makeup Geek shadows and all of my MAC shadows that I have, I've got about a pal of each, at the exact same time. I got them in, well, I got the MAC ones in first because Makeup Geek, the shipping's a little bit slower, but yeah, they're not the same, and MAC Brown Script is a must-have. It is so, if you like, you know, warm colors, obviously. But next one, I'm digressing. Barcelona Beach. I bought this one because Marlena said it would be a good contour color. I have come to realize I don't really care for I don't want a gray contour. I don't think that looks natural at all. I don't want a warm contour either, but I want a neutral color for a contour. I just don't think that gray looks very obvious. I know that you're trying to mimic the shadow, but to me that is like super, super obvious, and that's never the kind of contour I'm going for. So this one's softer to the touch, has a bit of powder pickup, but I mean, you see the way it, like, just powdery. It's very powdery, and in that aspect, that's certainly not my favorite. The good thing, you can see as I'm doing all these, like, you see the swatches, they do blend out really easily. I really wish that more people, when they were doing their swatch videos, they would show you as they're swatching, because, you know, if they're down here, they do blend nicely. The shadows are pretty blendable, but it's the working with them and the excess of fallout that you get. This next one's Lemon Drop. I really like yellow shadows, even though I feel like not that many people use them. This one is smooth, a little bit buttery, I guess I would say, but it has a bit of powder pickup. But for a colored eyeshadow, I feel like it's definitely not the worst out there. You can see it has some pretty good pigmentation, and it is a really pretty color to work with. It's just got a nice sheen to it. I really enjoy Lemon Drop, although I know that not everybody wants yellow on their eyes. I can respect that. And then another color that I had chosen to get was Shimmer Mint. And this one's weird. It is like I wonder what they're doing. This is like an in-between, it's kind of hard pressed in the pan. It's not exceptionally smooth. It has, you know, nice payoff. You can see that it has like pretty decent pigmentation. But it's just, it's definitely a color that's, I don't know, it still has to be built a bit, but it's, I don't know. It's kind of weird. It's not very smooth, nice pigmentation. It's just kind of like, it's like just below average for me. This one is Chickadee. And I was really disappointed in this one. This is another one that is super hard pressed into the pan. Like really hard pressed into the pan. And I want to make sure you guys can see. You have to really work to get it blended out. This is described on the website as a matte vivid orange. And this is like not, it doesn't even look like the picture on the website. And I have fair skin, so usually things show up a bit more intense on my skin. This is, I mean, it's a fine orange, but it's definitely more neutral. I would definitely not call this a matte vivid orange, and so I was really disappointed in that aspect because I was looking for something really bright. If you are looking for something really bright, MAC's Rule is gorgeous. It's a bit darker, but it's really, really gorgeous. And now we have Cosmopolitan. This is a dupe for MAC's Expensive Pink. It is a gorgeous shade. You can see the way that this one blends out, has gorgeous pigmentation. It's smooth, a little bit gritty to the touch, but not exceptionally by any means. It's really pretty, and if you have Expensive Pink, you don't need this. But if you want to save the couple bucks and you're already placing an order, I would say go with this one, because they are pretty much the same. This next one is Poppy. I really like these kind of colors. This one is smooth. Oh, I want to show you guys. Trying to show you guys the powder. That is, you see that it's chunking up a bit. Smooth, but pretty color. So look at this. That is when you swatch it initially. You know what I mean? And usually things swatch better. Okay. You see all that fallout going down my arm? Usually things swatch better with your fingers, so it's kind of disappointing when they're not, you know, you're not even using a brush at this point, and brushes tend to have a lot more fallout because they don't pick up the product as good as like your oily little fingers do. And then we have Mango Tango. This is another one that on the website I thought was a lot brighter. Luckily this kind of poppy shade that I also purchased is what I was expecting more from Mango Tango, and I still like this one, but it's just not what I was expecting. Boom. See that? It's just not very pigmented, and it's very powdery. So they're pretty colors, but if I were to have them in a different shadow form, I would prefer that. You know, because I already have them, I use them I had to force myself to use Make It Geek shadows, to be honest, as a whole, but I would prefer to have them in another form, the colors. Except for this one. This bad boy right here. This is Roulette. It is one of the newer shadows. It's from the Vegas Lights palette. This is exactly what I expected Make It Geek shadows to be. It is smooth, buttery, it is creamy. You touch it and it is so soft. So soft, minimal powder fallout. There's some fallout. There's fallout I've noticed with every single shadow I've used. Oh gosh, it's so smooth. It's super blendable. It is. And this is like the main kind of color on my lid right now. This is everything in a shadow. This is my favorite shadows to work with are the Makeup Forever shadows. They're very expensive, so I don't really, you know, I only have 6 shades, but oh my, this is the best. This is the best eyeshadow I've ever touched in my life, and I expected all Make It Geek shadows to be like this. And because they were so hyped up and everyone was saying like, oh, they're buttery, smooth, creamy, pigmented, every adjective that kind of collects right there. And then I have this one, so I know that they can be this. That's part of what has me so disappointed in some of these other ones, because I already know that better can be done. She's done better. So I don't know why these other ones are being talked up. And then this one's Bitten. I was really, really looking forward to this shade. I thought I was gonna make some gorgeous looks with it in the fall. It is a mess. It lacks, like, I'll just show you. It's super thick. I mean, Do you see how thick that powder is? And that's not, I'm not like digging into the pan to get the color. It's a thick shadow. Do you see that? Do you see it? Oh gosh, did you see that? Like it's a mess. I don't know. I could probably just throw this shadow away. I'll probably keep it for reference, but I don't know if I'll ever use this shadow, to be honest. It's a mess to work with. And then my last one that I have here is Corrupt. And everyone, I'm not like a black eyeshadow connoisseur. Like I'm very fair. I have smaller lids. I hardly ever wear black. Today is like one of the first days I've worn black eyeshadow in a really long time. It's not the most flattering for me. I really only use it to kind of like set eyeliner when I want like a smudged, smoky effect. I hate the texture of this. I know that you use your brush or whatever. It's very hard and gritty and like just packed in there. But everyone says that this is like the blackest eyeshadow on the market. And I don't know, I guess it's black. It's kind of streaky, but I don't know. I don't think it's super black. I've seen some swatches where I'm like, holy crap, that is pigmented. That is so black. Like that's kind of why I decided to bite the bullet and purchase it, because I was like, that'll be perfect for setting eyeliner. But I don't know. It does the job, I guess, but it's not the blackest out there, I don't think. I think it's really comparable if you have like the Lorac palettes, like to that kind of black. Either that or maybe I just didn't get one that's as pigmented, because I've seen some that look really pigmented. So, I don't know. Okay, so that's kind of like by shadow mini review. I do want to just mention real fast the ones that I think that if you're like, I don't want to spend the money for MAC shadows, even though, here's my true thoughts on that, is if you're going to spend the money to place an online order with Makeup Geek, the shadows are $5.99 in this form. MAC ones are $9.99. So there's still less than double, and my thought is I would rather have half as many eyeshadows than have a ton that are really difficult to work with, if that makes sense. I know that not all MAC eyeshadows are perfect, because I've got a palette with, my palette definitely has some duds in it as well, because I'm not like, I haven't been crazy about MAC eyeshadows for a long time or anything like that. I do, now that I have them, I really like them, but there are definitely some that I'm like, what are you thinking putting this out for the public to use? But anyway, so that's my thought, is I think that there's more consistent quality in MAC shadows, and that you'd be better off just saving for like double the time to get those. I know for some people that's just not gonna happen, and whatever. But if you're someone who's like, I really, really want Makeup Geek shadows, it'd be nice to have like a little 9 pan or something like that of them. These are among some that I truly think are worth the price. Babyface. Even if you don't really love cool tone shadows, for me this is just one that's really nice because it's not too cool, but it can, especially with my fair skin, this can just be something really nice to kind of like buff color in the crease, and then like if you kind of make a mistake, it's easy. This is like kind of a touch-up shade too, so I really like that one. Beaches and Cream for my fair skin, I really like it. If you're darker, you could go for Creme Brulee, but I don't feel that they're the same quality, so for me, I do like the Beaches and Cream better. And yeah, that's my thought on that. Desert Sands, because this is truly a unique color. It's not the best, it's not the worst in quality, but the color of it I really like, so for me that is worth it, and I do like to use that one. Cosmopolitan, I think that this one's really nice. It's smooth, a bit of powder, but overall it's a good shade, and it is an exact dupe for Expensive Pink. I think I talked about this for like 2 minutes probably. This is a really, really good shadow. I really enjoy it, and I definitely, all-time quality, all-time, like above any high-end shadow I have right here. That is that particular shadow. That's the only one of the Makeup Geek that I feel that I truly, truly love. Like truly love. And then Lemon Drop, if you're wanting something fun, especially like this time of year, the yellow on the inner corner has been a really big trend lately. So this is a nice yellow to have as well. So those are just some of the 19 I own, I don't have 9 recommendations to fill up a Z palette. I'm sure that there are other shadows out there, but I only own 19, and it'll be pretty hard to convince me to order anymore, to be honest. I do have 7 that I'm just like, just don't do it, girlfriend, don't. Peach Smoothie. This is like, it's powdery. I don't understand why everyone thinks that this is such a great transition color. It's an okay color, but it's not what people are saying it is. So, I mean, it is nice as a transition color, but it's not the end all. Purely Naked. Oh, I just got powder everywhere from dropping that. Do not buy this shadow. Oh my goodness. It's so powdery, it's such a mess, and there are a million other mid-tone browns with a little bit of sparkle in it that work better than this one. I would say just avoid that one. Barcelona Beach. Again, if you're thinking about using this as a contour, it is so gray, you don't want to use it as a contour, and it's so powdery that it's difficult to use on the eyes. So I would say go ahead and probably skip that one as well. Cocoa Bear. I love this shade, but honestly, if you're wanting a dupe for brown script, I'd say just save up the couple extra dollars and get brown script. This is really hard pressed into the pan, so the payoff is kind of poor on it. I think that brown script is much better, and I don't think that it's like, there are probably other red undertone browns out there. Chickadee. This is not a matte vivid orange. It is matte, but it's not vivid, and it's again one of those really hard pressed, so it's just kind of hard to build up the color. Corrupt. There are plenty of other blacks. Chances are if you have like any palette from the drugstore, any high-end palette, there's probably a black in there. So one that you could get that I don't own, and so I feel bad, but go check out Wet n Wild's Panther. It's a black matte shadow. I think that's what I'm probably gonna find, just to kind of, because I don't want to reach out for this whole palette for like just set my eyeliner with this black. So that, and then my last one is Shimma Shimma. I love the way this looks on a swatch, but when you put it on your eyes, it does not translate that same way, and I don't think this is worth it at all. It's just very powdery, and shimmery shades can age the eyelids like a lot more. This does especially, and I think it's because it's so thick. So those are my thoughts on the Makeup Geek shadows that I own. Overall, I don't think that they are the most amazing eyeshadows out there. As a whole, I do still enjoy my MAC shadows more, even though there are a couple colors in here that I really enjoy. Yeah, I hope this is not too negative, because I really like some of the things that Marlena does. You know, her shipping's really inexpensive. She does price them lower, even though they're not like super cheap. Like, I mean, I don't know, I just feel like it's just a couple dollars difference. And I know it's not like I'm loaded, okay? We got 3 kids, 1 income. It's not like we're like just rolling in the dough, but I would rather just save up the couple extra dollars to get MAC shadows. So yeah, I hope that you really take this review into consideration, and that you really think about what shades you're purchasing from Makeup Geek, and really as a consumer are thinking, okay, if people are saying like all of one whole line is perfect, you probably should just think about it, because there's got to be some negative review, and I have not seen any. And not that this review is wholly negative, but negative aspects to it, I guess. So if this was helpful, I'd really like for you guys to subscribe and stick around and see what else I have coming out. If there's some color that you really are like, this color could change your mind, or like this one I found really worked for me, maybe you had the same experience as I did but you just haven't said anything, or you don't make videos or whatever, I would like to know, because I'd be willing to try out a couple other shades. I just couldn't imagine trying to ever like truly fill this whole thing out with the rest of the way. But yeah, if this is helpful, I hope to see you guys in the next video.